Aha, hello.
Hello, hi Anna, you're right.
It took me a second to figure out how to actually add us here, so I'm
Yes,
glad you managed to do it.
same. I was in some kind of lobby, but I guess we're now live. It worked.
Oh, well, thank you for coming on and joining me today.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
we've had quite a few questions around life insurance, which will be really interesting to talk about.
Yes.
And it's actually something that I always thought about in the past, but never really got round to. And I was always one of those people that thought, oh, I'm still young, I don't really need to think about it yet, etc.
Yeah.
So actually sort of going through it and learning more about it, it made me really think, maybe I shouldn't have thought that. And obviously my circumstances have changed and I'm moving to Poland, etc. But I think it's still really important to highlight how it works and whether people might want to think about it. So do you want to start with maybe introducing yourself and who you are and
Mm.
what you do?
Yeah, sure thing. So my name is James Buckley Thorpe. I'm the founder and CEO of Bequest. We're based in London. We're the latest life insurance company to start in the UK, and we're taking on two different challenges, both in distribution, so we can make it nice and easy, like the Monzos have made fintech really nice and easy. And the second is also looking at policies, like let's try and understand what's being excluded. Does it really need to be excluded? Can we actually add on? So what we've done is we've also addressed things like mental health, suicide. We're the first UK life insurer that covers suicide without any exclusion clauses. And we also adjust the poverty premium. So it's both distribution and also what we are actually putting out there into the market. Bequest as a history, though, we've been going for about 2 years now. And it was actually started after the loss of my best friend in a car accident. And that's where I realized, like, okay, wow, the insurance industry really looks at the money in the bank, the houses, and it just seems so transactional for life insurance. And that stayed with me since 2016. And here we are now, hopefully putting out a much better product for everybody.
Yeah, I think part of what really intrigued me when you guys reached out to me was actually the fact that you talked about these, not having all these exclusions, which
Mm.
I was like, oh, like I've never heard of that before, because a lot of people see insurance companies as very much like, oh, they just try to get out of paying you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it was nice to see that. I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Everybody at Bequest, like we've all been brought here for like a good reason. And it was actually our head of operations, Ollie. He was the one that was like, right, I want to make the small print big. And then we've actually made that like one of our phrases in the company.
Brilliant. Well, why don't we kick off with some of the questions? So I guess the first
Mm,
question and the
yes.
most basic one is, how does life insurance work?
That's a good question. We only have an hour, so I'm going to give you
Yeah.
the short version. But effectively, life insurance is incredibly important for those who have just bought a house, maybe you've just welcomed in a child to the family, or for those who are just financially on it and they want to do good things with their estate and their legacy. You take out life insurance at Bequest up to £500,000 within minutes on any device, and effectively you make a small monthly payment, a premium, and in case of the worst were to happen, that £500,000 would be then given to those who you've assigned it to, usually your next of kin, your loved ones, so they can still benefit in financially without you not being here. It's so not expensive in this country. Recent research shows that people think it's 4 times more expensive than it actually is. As an example, £500,000 on Bequest can literally be about £8 to £11 per month. Now, depending on each circumstance, sometimes it can be a bit more, but
Well, it
effectively it's
gets
there as a
more
safety
when
net.
you're older, right? So the older you are when you take it out, the more
Mm-hmm.
you pay per month,
Yes.
which I guess we'll come on to later in terms of when you should take it out, etc. But So if, say, if I took out life insurance, and something happened to me, how would that get dealt with? Is it my family that would need those details? How do people claim on that? How does that work?
So there's actually billions currently unclaimed of assets out there in this country. So what we've done is, at the end of the journey, when you get your life insurance policy, you can actually input your next of kin, your beneficiaries, so we can actually contact them. But not only that, it makes also the process of when it comes to claims far easier. There's no guesswork. We also offer a free will, so when you tie that in, we upload it to the National Will Registry, even if you're on your own and you have a very distant next of kin, they're still going to be made aware that a life insurance policy exists in your name. It's just so important. I can't believe it doesn't already exist like that.
Yeah, I actually kept thinking, I need to do a will. And I think part of it is because I don't have children. So I always thought, it's going to be really confusing if something was to happen to me. What would happen with my property? What would happen with my investments? I wasn't quite sure how it would automatically get distributed. So I always thought, actually, a will would be a good idea because, I could make, the majority would probably go to my parents, but then I have like a cousin who's like a sister to me, and like all these people that are important to me. So it just blew my mind that you could actually do a will for free. I was just like, what?
Now you can.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. And you don't need the kids. Like, I did my first will, actually, when I was going for a very simple surgical operation. I suddenly was like, oh, God, there is a very, very remote chance, the doctor said you have more chance of actually dying on your way to the hospital than actually in the operation or whatever. But I put my will together then. So it's, it is typically usually life circumstances, marriages, operations, or people around you, buying a house. And that's all very natural and normal. But obviously, everybody from the age of 18 should just have a will in place. It just makes it so much easier for those in your family. So much easier.
Especially when you can do it for free. Like, it's just insane.
Exactly. Why not?
Okay, so the next question, which you briefly touched upon, but it's when you should consider life insurance. So a lot of people might not think that they need it, until they have like all this stuff to worry about. But actually, there may be other situations in which you should maybe consider it. So what do you think? Like, what are the different circumstances in which you should potentially consider it?
So, like, there's two aspects. There's reactionary. So that's actually looking after, like, you've got married, big significant changes are taking place in your life and you're wanting to now protect those. There is also a second reason as to why people buy life insurance, and that's the fact that it's absolutely beneficial to those who you leave behind. So at Bequest, we actually write it in a trust, which basically means it doesn't go for inheritance tax. It actually comes after that's being calculated. So it can also be considered a wealth creation tool. So some people do actually buy multiple life insurances just to preserve their family legacy. But the majority of people buying a house, because that's it's one of our biggest debts that we ever accumulate in our life, and kids, because life insurance, as we call it at Bequest, is love insurance. You usually get it when you have something that you love so much that you need to protect it financially.
Yeah. And I mean, my dad had a life insurance. I remember he used to always sort of joke about it, but my mum used to worry, about him going on motorways and things, and he's like, well, at least if something happens to me, like, you'll have the house paid off. But he was the main breadwinner in the house, and if his income was gone, we could very well have lost the house, and that's where we were living. So that was sort of my view of life insurance, was always like, oh, that is like the only time where you might need it is if you're like the main breadwinner and you have a mortgage. And I was like, oh, I'm so far from that. Like, I don't even need to think about it.
It's quite scary when I share the stat that every 22 minutes, a child in the UK loses a parent. So although we like to think that these really sad situations that can occur in our lives are remote, it's not that remote.
Yeah. That is a very scary stat.
It is,
so Another question someone posted when I asked people to ask questions was, do you actually need to bother when you're in your 20s or early 30s? So if you have, say, no dependents, if you don't have a mortgage yet, or mostly if you don't have any children, and your risk of something happening to you is quite low at that age, do you think you would need to bother? What do you? I think yes, but I'll let you answer that.
So this is certainly not advice. So I must just make that clear, because obviously it's a personal decision or when you take life insurance. Bequest is there for when you're ready. So this is certainly isn't advice. Just apply this if it works for you. But I'll give you the benefits from an industry point of view. And if you want to take advantage of that, then that's obviously your own personal choice. Now, the biggest factor to the price that you pay for life insurance is your age, categorically. So if you are that kind of like smart, money-minded person getting your pension early, I wish I was that person. You know, I started my pension way too late because nobody told me to start it. Same for life insurance. These things really, really matter as to when you start them, and your premium is very, very reflective of your age. So if you're literally in your early 20s, mid 20s, you're going to get one of the best rates of life insurance in your life, unless, well, no, not unless anything. You've got to get it. It will only go up incrementally after that. I got my first life insurance policy with Bequest about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I'm 32, so I would have had a better rate had I started maybe 24, 23. Even though a better rate, I'm paying £11 a month, so I'm actually very happy with that. But still, for money-minded people, early is better.
Yeah, and it's funny because until I did the sums, I didn't quite wrap my head around that, because I was thinking, well, you know, you'll be paying for a shorter amount of time when you're older, etc. But actually, when I did the sums, you know, I got my spreadsheet out and I was like, I'm going to double check this.
Yeah.
And I actually did the sums and I was like, okay, yeah, you do actually pay far less if you have that, say, £9 a month from when you're 20 to for 40 years than if you have it for 20 years. I can't remember the exact sums. I've done them in one of my previous videos.
Yes.
But yeah, that kind of shocked me. I was like, okay, that makes sense, because if you're planning to have kids, for example, that could be a useful protection for you that will be cheaper than if you wait until you have children to take out the insurance, right? So
completely. And all the challenges that go into having a child as well. You know, we underwrite pregnant people. You know, it's not like you have to, it's not like travel insurance where you have to get out before you fly. You can literally buy life insurance, or you can even buy multiple policies. It's also very unique with insurance. But yeah, it really does come down to starting it sooner if you can, if you're in that position. Because if you're, say, plus 60 for a similar policy that I have, a monthly premium could be ridiculous. It could be hundreds of pounds a month. People aren't going to be buying that. And that's when you can find yourself locked out of life insurance.
Yeah. And that actually, I was going to go like work my way through the questions, but I'm going to interject one that I was going to ask near the end, because it actually ties in really well with what you just said. And I don't know the answer to this. And obviously, I don't know whether you guys do or whether there are just other companies, but you don't. But someone asked me, is there any life insurance that protects after the age of retirement?
It's a really good question. So what you're looking, so if you have now retired, we don't usually find people seeking life insurance out, because at the point of retirement, the industry say that you're an empty nest. I don't know if I like that saying or not. Effectively, the people that you were taking the life insurance out should now usually be fully fledged adults and be able to self-support themselves. So, oh God, I said self far too many times just then. But you get what I mean. The issue actually lies with, it's actually important to have it now, but at 65 or above, or retirement, you would actually be looking for a specialist policy. We don't offer that at Bequest. Very, very few people actually look for that, and that would actually have to be something very specific. An advisor, a financial advisor, would be the person to go to for that.
Could you, for example, take out life insurance at I don't know, 35 or 40, and then that kind of end of that term pushes you into retirement age, would that cover you then, for example? Because I wonder whether
Exactly.
that's what they're asking as well.
Yes. So it's a smart idea. So we write policies up to 40 years. So you can like set it now up to 40 years, but there will always be a cutoff between 65 and 70 years of age. But at Bequest, because of the way we built the policy, because of the people that we're underwriting, we are far more price conscious and aware for those between 20 and 40. Our product and what we insure you against, I think, becomes a little bit irrelevant for those 60 plus. So I would actually even say that we've actually built a product for the 20 to 40 year olds because of what it contains, and we would almost actually recommend going to somewhere specialist in regards to retirement.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, I think. And I guess a lot of people, for retirement, they will also have pensions, right? So that's part of that kind of, I know with my pension, I only signed up recently, but I had to fill in like a, you know, if something happens to me, who gets my pension as well. So that also kind of protects you at that age as well. So term versus whole life insurance. This is something that quite a few people asked. It was actually a very popular question, and it was actually something that I actually had to Google before as well, because I didn't quite understand the difference between the two, because these terms get thrown around, and I think people don't fully understand what the difference is. So what is the difference, and when might you want one over the other, potentially?
So the majority of people in the UK buy term life insurance. Whole life insurance, also known as universal life insurance, effectively will always pay out no matter what age you pass away. Now,
so even if you're like 100,
even if you're 100, if you're lucky enough to get to 100, you get that letter from the Queen, and you're still insured. You're happy as Larry, I guess. But the reason why it's actually less popular over term insurance is it's incredibly more costly, as you can imagine, because it will always end with a payout, as long as you follow, obviously, whoever writes this policy's terms and conditions. So it's not considered the most accessible policy, and the majority of people who look for life insurance are only doing it until either the house is paid off and they'll get decreasing life insurance, or until their child has gone to university or whatever, where they'll get level term life insurance.
So is it always 40 years? So if you take it out at 20, it's 40 years. If you take it out at 40, it's 40 years. Is that how it works?
That really depends on how you answer the questions. So what we've built is a very smart underwriting engine. You're asked no more than 9 to 14 questions, depending on how you answer a couple of them. And what actually happens at the end of that journey, you'll have 2 sliders. So you can actually, if you have a budget in mind, if you're saying, I don't want to spend more than 15 or 20 pounds a month, you actually drag that slider to 20 pounds per month, and then it will actually show you what that amount will actually cover. So you actually have full control over how much you're going to be paying, and then what you're going to get in return.
It's so interesting. Like, I don't know, because it's not something that in the past I've done much research on. Anything I learn new about it just fascinates me. I think I once considered being like an actuary, because it was like, oh, it's like a finance. Yeah, because it was always finance that I was sort of, well, it was once I realized I wanted to go into finance. But then I realized just how much stress they are under and like how much can go wrong, and I was like, yeah, I'm not touching that. Nope, I don't need that stress.
Very cool. Yeah.
So the next question that came up was, can you choose the amount of how much payouts you will get?
Yes. Simple answer, yes, you can. So usually I'd say the average UK premium amount, like what people want to insure themselves, is around about £300,000 and £350,000. It's around, inheritance size. So that's why I think people select that. But once again, at Bequest, you go through the flow first, and then at the end, you kind of make that kind of smart budget decision. You can always change. You can always sign back into Bequest and maybe increase the amount of protection you want or decrease. And obviously that then will be reflective in the premiums that you pay. But you control it all. Super easy. No need to make an appointment. You literally just sign in and then we'll do the rest for you. But that was one of our big sticking issues. There has to be a level of personalization, because even if you don't yet have a house, even if you don't yet have a child, the life insurance is its own ladder. So get on now, ideally, and then maybe 2 or 3 years later, you're then lucky enough and you have a child maybe, or you start planning for a child, knowing that you can just sign back into Bequest and up it. And the first 50% that you increase on your original policy, we don't re-underwrite you. So we won't re-ask you those questions. So you could be 25 when you take out the policy, getting on that ladder, and it could be about 30 or maybe even 35 when you actually come to amend it. But you're benefiting from the fact that you started that policy early on.
Yeah. And if that happened and you decided, for example, actually, I was insured for 300K, but now I want to up it to 400, would your monthly payment then change? Would you up that monthly payment?
It would. It's all done. So there's a pricing engine, and it actually happens in real time. So as you're actually dragging that up, you'll actually see the additional that will cost or the saving that will make by decreasing it. And then obviously that's reflected in the following month's direct debits. All handled for you. Yeah.
That makes sense. And I guess if throughout your life, as you're paying off your mortgage, for example, you realize, okay, I've paid off 100K of my mortgage. Maybe I should reduce my life insurance.
So we actually offer decreasing. So if you are interested in the life insurance, when you go through the flow, you're asked, do you want level? And level term insurance basically means that £200,000 that you take out will be £200,000 at the end of the policy. Decreasing is really suitable for those with mortgages because it actually slowly decreases over the time of the policy. So you don't have to sign in and do it. We handle that for you. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's awesome.
Right?
Just literally automating everything. I love it.
That's what we want, isn't it? Easier life.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of those things as well, I guess, that for me, one of the issues I've always had with insurance generally is that you'll take it out, for example, for like 2 years, and then after 2 years, they just renew it for you, and they just happen to increase the price quite substantially. And I'm just like, why? When I can just do another one with another provider for exactly the same. Or cheaper.
Or cheaper, yeah.
So surely you'd rather keep it the same and keep me as a customer.
Right. Yeah, I had something similar with my health insurance, and I've been with them for a couple of years, and then I got a letter saying we're renewing you and your new premium is this. I was like, well, I've not been doing any claims. Surely you've learned to trust me now. I'm a good risk for you.
I should decrease it. Yeah.
Where's my reward? But with life, us, you set it. So like my £11 or whatever I'm paying per month will be what I'm paying for the next 40 years. Yeah. Unless I increase or decrease it, obviously.
Okay, so the final one that I had from Instagram before I look at the comments here was, if you are married, should you get 1 or 2 policies? And I know you can't advise on individual circumstances, so it will depend. But what would be the differences and the things to consider when trying to make that choice?
So yeah, great caveat there. This is not advice, but we feel that we've come across something in life insurance that we wanted to expose. And that is sometimes, just to clarify, sometimes joint life policies are perfect depending on your circumstance. We believe for the majority of people who come through Bequest, it's not suitable because if you go through and do a joint policy, you and your partner will be making your monthly contributions for, say, the £200,000 payout. Now, say worst would happen, your partner would pass away, that £200,000 would be paid out, and then you have no life insurance policy left. Now, that could be 10, 15, 20 years into the future, and then we're back into the issue that we were with our first question. You might be 50 now, and you're trying to look for a policy because you still have a house and kids, and now you're on your own. Whereas if you get 2 individual policies, which we offer. So you just go through get one and get the second one. If one of you to pass away, you get the £200,000, but you still have another active life policy for £200,000. And the clincher is, with both of those examples, you're paying the same per month, which is, in my eyes, how is that okay if you are not made aware of that? So we start by saying, get your own policy. We are also addressing the fact that not enough women are disproportionately underinsured when it comes to life insurance in this country. And also the fact that those who have life insurance with their jobs are becoming more transient. We're not like the generations before us who'd have a job set for life. And you don't want a transient job to be holding your life insurance, which should be really fixed.
Yeah, it's quite funny you say that, because I was having a conversation with someone recently about how often people move jobs nowadays. And I was like, I've not really stayed in a job for longer than 2 years throughout my career. And I know I met someone in one of my first jobs in my career who'd been in the job for almost 40 years. And I was like,
40 years.
how? I get bored out of my mind after 2 years, and I'm just like, I need to go. I need to do something different. But
the average, I believe, is 3.8 years for our generation. I cannot remember. I can't give you the source of that, but some random article or something like that. But it was about like 3+ something odd years, which is incredibly different to 40 years. It's not even a slow transition. It's like completely changed. It's mad.
Yeah, it's just insane. But yeah, I get bored way too easily. Right, so I can see there's a comment here that I'm going to throw up on the screen. What can life insurance cover you for? And also, can you pick for your life insurance to be invested in something pretty safe, like bonds and stuff? So I don't think that's how it works, is it?
No, that's not. But it's a really good question. And if anything, I think you're gonna be happy with the response, because it's actually going to be more easy than you think it might be. The life policy, when claimed, will be literally transferred as a cash sum to whoever you bequest that to. So if you take a £200,000 policy out to protect your loved ones after you've gone, they're going to get £200,000. With many life insurers, that will happen as part of your estate. At Bequest, we write it on your request into a trust, completely free. It means that it's non-exempt. It's exempt from inheritance tax. But what your loved ones get is cash in the bank, and it's up to them to distribute and spend as they wish. And if you wish to give them some guidance, you can put that guidance into a will. Hence why we offer free wills as well.
Yeah,
it's a great question. So they then they can invest it in bonds or pay off uni bills or whatever. We don't get involved in that. We will just send the check when that claim comes through.
When it happens, yeah. So just that first part of that question, what can life insurance cover you for? Is it literally, because I know you mentioned before about, you still cover for things like suicide, which a lot of insurers won't, because a lot of people will be like, oh, they took out life insurance and then killed themselves to claim on it, and think that people are like doing fraud to do that, which is insane. And even if someone did that, even if the odd person did that, like that would be like a tiny proportion drop in the ocean, like not even recognizable. And it could actually mean safety for a family that's going through something completely unbearable because their loved one did that. That's
the thing. We said that we actually had that conversation. Our underwriters, our partners, they're awesome. Berkshire Hathaway, Genry is our reinsurer, Covéa is our underwriter. They've allowed us to be this innovative, and they really agreed when we said, look, when we say, when insurers say, there's an exclusion on suicide and stuff, we're thinking that is completely just not understanding the fact that depression is an illness. Suicide, it's not a conscious decision. So when we shared that, and they said, they got on board with what we were saying, we have a lot more knowledge now. Why aren't we using the knowledge that we know from science and medicine and updating the things that we're selling today? And you know, for the very, very small people that would actually use it in that way, that shouldn't mean that everybody, the majority of the people, should not get that protection, because we don't know what's going to happen in our lives. You know, it's, yeah,
Exactly.
we were really passionate about that one, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's amazing. I think it just shows that you care about the people rather than just wanting to please people for money, which I think is great.
Yeah, and like we want to be with these people for the rest of their lives. So you know, it's not like we're here and then we're gone. We want to see you grow up and start families and buy houses and whatnot.
Exactly. I love it when companies come in and disrupt the normal state of being.
Right. No comment.
Okay, so new question up on the screen. Even though you may have a joint policy, is there a main policy holder for the policy? As in, you cannot make changes to the policy unless the main policy holder agrees.
You have a joint policy. Is there a main policy holder? Oh, that's really interesting. So you've taken it out together, so there is no main person. You both jointly have it together, like a joint tenancy, joint trust. If you buy a house together, there isn't one main person or the other. It's just right down the middle.
Brilliant. I think, there's this one I wanted to throw up actually, and I don't know whether you do this. It might be like an interesting idea for you as a company, but I thought it was really interesting. I wish there was an insurance provider out there that could bundle it all together, life and a will, which I know you do, but also stuff like home content, TV, etc., to be added on for an additional premium. So basically just cover me for everything.
That's an awesome question, Nikki. So I obviously don't want to spill too many secrets about what we're doing at Bequest, but our overall aim is to be all of life and end of life as one platform. Now, on the platform, when you get there, it's very simple and straightforward, but we will be expanding onto this. Now, this doesn't mean that we will be doing these products ourselves. We are working with some great partners, but we completely agree that this space is far too fractured, unnecessarily fractured. So we want to kind of unite this, one safe place where you know everything is, your online filing cabinet almost. So this will be the answer to your question. But the benefit of Bequest is because we use our really smart underwriting engine. I was going to say AI, but I think that's a bit of a buzzword now that's gone. But it is a really smart underwriting engine that actually will be able to understand your risk, not just for life insurance, but for other products too. But yeah, that's a really good question.
But I think that would be awesome, because part of my issue is, you know, if I have, because I've got like contents insurance and I used to have pet insurance and phone insurance and gadgets, and I'm just like, if something happens, I'm like, God, who was that policy with? Because I always go for like, okay, so this one's the cheapest for this, and this one's the one that's this, and then I have no clue, and then I'm frantically searching my emails like for pet insurance, and then it comes up with all these things, like all this junk mail. I'm just like, oh my God. I mean, it shows you I'm not very organized, because I should just have it all written down somewhere. But yeah, the idea of just having everything with one person is a great one, I think. So
yeah, exactly. Or even just a place to store it as well. You know what I mean? I think I had dental insurance and I had no idea that I had it for ages. That's all. Yeah. You're not alone in that.
So bit of a technical question, I guess, about Bequest, but do you have a phone line someone could call if they had questions?
We do. So we actually we have a phone line, and you can call that during the flow if you have a specific question that you've been asked and you don't know how to answer it. The phone line connects you straight to our team. I'm on it, so sometimes you might even get me on the end of that phone line. And also we have live chat, which is really, really popular. So, you know, people just throw in a bit of feedback or a question, but we're trying to make it so easy just to get in touch if you have a question. And then additionally, we also provide, well, we have a partner that provides it, that we've partnered with, that provides grief counseling via live chat for your family if they would benefit from it. And that's totally free. So yeah, we try and make sure it's very easy to communicate with us. Even DMs on Instagram, is where we get questions too. We're totally fine with that.
Brilliant. Yeah, I find I'm all for live chats and stuff, but sometimes it's good to have a phone. And
Yeah.
I'm finding more and more these days with companies, sometimes it's hard enough to get a live chat even, but with phone numbers, they're almost disappearing. And it gets very frustrating sometimes, because if you have something complicated to talk about, it's really frustrating, and it makes me question the company a little bit if I can't get through on the phone. So it's really good to know that.
I'm not to call out Apple right now, but only because I've had it this week. It was so technical, the issue, that live chat was actually wasting my time. And then I ended up calling, and Apple's great for customer service usually. And then I was able to get it done on the phone. I still like using phones, especially for like a technical thing,
Yeah, definitely. Do they do insurance for body parts?
My God.
I guess this stems from like the Hollywood thing, right? Because I remember they say like, oh, this footballer's legs are insured for like $500,000 or something.
Yeah. That exists. That's not life insurance though. But yes, you can get anything insured. There's celebrities that have insured their lips, and obviously singers insuring their voices. This is something that you'd go to Lloyd's, and it would be a bespoke insurance policy for whichever body part you wish to protect against. But that's not life insurance. But I love that question.
Yeah, it did make me laugh. Is it possible to have more than one policy for life insurance?
Yes, you can buy many. So we do a lot of user feedback. We love speaking to people who use or want to use Bequest. And I remembered actually we did a closed group with a couple of fathers and who were getting Bequest life insurance. And I spoke to one guy and I said, actually, gosh, this must have been before the lockdown, because it was face to face. It feels like years ago now. Very premium. And he actually told me how he was actually quite like, I need to get protection in place. So I've already bought 2 policies and I'm looking for a third, possibly a fourth. So obviously I was just like, well, I'd love to, understand more about why. What on earth are you so worried and needs this much protection? And he was just like, I just need to make sure I could cover the mortgage. And I believe he had 3 children and they could all go to university. So we calculated that £500,000 would be perfect for him. And actually what he's already got in place is over £2 million worth of protection, which he did not know. He still joined Bequest, but his personal choice is that he wants his family to be left with far more than enough. I did say to him, I was like, you're actually going to change their lives with the amount that you're bequesting with them. And that was his priority. But with life insurance, you can do it. But at Bequest, rather than buying multiple policies, we let you update that same policy, which is better for your premium if it's within that 50% rule. But yeah, there's no limit. You can buy as much as you want.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense if you just want to max out all of them. But part of me just thinks like, why not just increase one of them to like loads and loads of money than trying to have loads of separate ones? But I guess maybe if you want to max out all.
Well, some life insurers don't let you. So you'll find that some life insurers or brokers can be, to be more like clear, I guess, earn money every time they sell a policy, not amend a policy. So they're actually incentivized to keep selling you more policies. That's not how we work at Bequest. We actually don't think you should be pushed into that decision. If you want to buy more individual policies, it should be your choice. But if you want to update your main policy, then why can't you? So yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. A really important question.
Very important. Very important.
Might be a stupid question. It isn't. But is your company FCA covered?
Yeah. So FCA, Financial Conduct Authority, we are. Yes, we are directly authorized with the Financial Conduct Authority. and myself individually as well. We volunteered and joined the ICO, the Information and Commissioners Office, because we treat your data very, very carefully. And we're also B Corp pending as well. But yes, if you're in this space, it's very, very clear. You have to be authorized. It's taken us, as I've said, about nearly 2 years to have built what we have now launched about 6 weeks ago. But yeah.
Brilliant.
We are authorized, and everybody should be authorized. So if someone's talking to you about life insurance and not FCA authorized, walk away.
Run. Run. Don't walk, run. So what happens if the company goes bust with who you're insuring with?
Right. So great question too. So for example, let's say Bequest is not here in 30 years time. It will be. But if it isn't, our policies are underwritten as well. So our reinsurer is Berkshire Hathaway, and our underwriter is Covéa Limited. So even if we were to fade away, or even change, or even stop selling life insurance, even your policy will still exist, and your policy will still be paid out because it's backed by a reinsurer. This is what is actually required to sell life insurance. This isn't something that we've done. This is something that all insurers have to do. So a payout will still exist if the company that you bought it from doesn't. And we've got some great partners that will still continue to pay out for your policy.
Yeah, I think the underwriting bit is really important, and it gives people faith
Yes.
of what will happen. What is CASZ?
CASZ. So what is CASZ? Well, I believe it's to do with governance. Shall we Google it?
Yeah, I was literally about to do it.
This is why I'm not going to be answering this question, but if it's regarding, oh, here we go, compliance. So this is a question that we would obviously, our compliance officer would be able to answer. So if you have a specific question when it comes to this, the FCA or how we operate, you can always email us at alexa@bequest.com, and we'll forward that to our regulator team.
It looks like it's just regulations around client money, which insurers and brokerages, everyone would be part to. I don't know how it works with life insurance, but for example, I know that with the brokers that I invest money with, they have to keep client money in separate accounts. They're not allowed to touch it. So I imagine.
Oh, right. We don't touch client money at all. So on our T's and C's, so going back to an earlier question regarding Ollie wanting to make the small print big, we've put how we operate, what happens with client money, all of this available on our website in the terms and conditions and use of business. But not only that, we've also put the policy that you would get, so you can actually read through your policy documents before you actually buy it on site too. So you can actually do as much thorough reading as you want or can, and any questions that you have from there, you can always just reach out to us if you have any. But we've put it all up there for everybody to see.
Brilliant. Oh, I still have a banner up. Hold on, let me hide that one because we follow that. Brilliant. Okay. I think we're coming up to the end of our session. So is there anything else you think that we haven't really touched on that might be interesting to know or cover that might, people might want to know in terms of life insurance?
Of course, yeah. So depending on where you are in your life, obviously dictates when you should possibly look for life insurance. But if you're looking at getting something started with bequest.com, you can get one of our free wills. It's the same dashboard. So free wills for everybody. There are some premium options if you wish, but getting that set up will make also when you come to getting life insurance really, really swift. But yeah, the device that you're on right now is the same device that will get you covered with life insurance within 10 to 15 minutes tonight.
So simple. Yeah. One final question that I think is an interesting one, and then we will head off. But do you insure children?
So life insurance you take out on behalf of yourself. You don't take out on behalf of others. Regarding children, this question might be regarding critical illness or child critical illness. These are some elements of what we're currently discussing about bringing in now. So if you actually just start Bequest and a product or an insurance product isn't yet available, when it does become available, you can actually attach it into your plan. So we made it really, really easy. But that I believe this might be asking for child critical illness. And if that's the case, that's something that's coming. But when it comes to life insurance, you always take it out on yourself and not on behalf of others.
Yeah, I guess part of the life insurance idea is that you're protecting against your income not coming in anymore. And so it's kind of, I know, because you can get income insurance too, but it's more, you know, income insurance is more if I lose my job, whereas life insurance is if I lose my job and my family can't pay the bills.
Completely. And like I like to say that you write a will to protect the things that you've bought already, and your life insurance is there to buy the things that you're intending to buy, but you're no longer around to buy them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. Brilliant. Well, that's a brilliant summary. And I can't believe it's been 45 minutes. That's
I know, right?
Really
Time flies when you're having fun talking about life.
I thought this would be like a 15-minute live, so I'm glad I had no other plans. But yeah, no, brilliant. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a lot of fun. And I have got the link down below if you guys want to check out the wills or the life insurance. And you do get a £50 Amazon voucher if you take out a policy worth £9 or more per month. I think a lot of people sometimes with these things, if they're affiliate links and stuff, they think, oh, you're just promoting it. I don't get anything from you signing up. You know, it's literally just that £50 for you if you sign up. So if you are interested, check out the link below. And sorry, I'm losing my voice now. But yeah, this was my first YouTube live. So it has actually been really fun.
Yeah, good.
And yeah, great experience. So if you guys want me to do more lives as well, let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, I hope you have a great evening, and I hope everyone that is watching has a great evening. And I'll see you next time.
Have a nice evening, Anna. Bye-bye.
You too. Speak soon.
Speak soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.